The Survivor Specialists are back, and today it is Survivor 48 predictions and power rankings for episode number 5. Jeff Probst is in tears, but none of you better be, because Lauren O'Connell is back from her retirement from the Specialists, has disappeared, I think, since season 41. And now here she is, finally, season 48, episode number 5, same room and everything. Now we are in the same situation.
Same room.
What's going on?
Same room. I had to bring back the nostalgia. I don't know that retirement's a strong word. I think retirement's a strong word. I think it was that you never asked me to come back on.
Phil. I was too busy singing your praises in literally every season 50 thing we do. And then every time I'd get like a message where it's like, they're not going to ask me. They're not going to ask me. And I'm like, well, come on, Lauren, positivity. Let's go. Let's go.
No, I tell everyone that, listen, I'm like, Phil's my favorite person because he won't shut up about me going on 50. And he's the only one, but I respect that and I love it.
Hey, people forget how Edge of Extinction ended. It was a disaster for you and it was a disaster for Victoria, and it really wasn't your fault. So I'm over here like,
how it ended.
Yeah, I'm like, let's get Lauren back on, and I know I'm the only one who's going to say it, so I'm just going to keep on saying it nonstop, and hopefully this will be your audition tape. Hopefully somebody is listening, and they're going to give you that call for 48 right here and right now and say, you know what, like, let's see what Lauren does without Kelly.
Oh my God, my phone is actually ringing right now. That's so, Jeff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what? Fine. I will be on 50. Stop begging. Stop begging.
I'm telling you, I don't know. I'm very curious what they're going to do with 50 and how they're going to handle like pre-40, post-40. But I was always like, come on, give Edge of Extinction some love in the cast, because you guys didn't even know that these people were over there just hanging out. What the hell? So I want to see it.
Hanging out. No, I appreciate that. I love you for that. I'm excited for 50. I think I am very interested in how they're going to combine what you would call, I guess, old school, new era.
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to make it even? I don't know. I think that watching the new era now, I realize how different it is strategically, how much I guess faster it is, I would assume. But I don't know. I'm excited to see who they think represents, because that's what Jeff said. He's like, I want it to represent Survivor. So who represents Survivor? And I think a lot of people would have a lot of different answers for that.
I know. And it's like, if you're saying represent Survivor, you want Rushmore type players, but then at the same time, if you've only played Survivor once, can you be a Rushmore type player? And it's just, so then it's, can anybody in the new era be on there? Or is it Bruce the only one because he played twice, because he played for 2 days the first time and hit his head? You know, it's so
totally.
It's really hard to say. And I'm excited for how they're going to shake it out. And, you know, we've been doing the voting. I guess voting is going to end this week. Lauren, have you participated in the vote for season 50 that has overtaken the conversation of season 48?
Yes, I did for the first week. I didn't for the second week. What was the vote for the second week?
So the second week was, should there be a tribe swap or not?
Oh, okay. I hope everybody voted yes.
Okay.
I think that makes it fun.
Hopefully, unlike season 38, there's actually a tribe swap. So that would be nice, right?
No, yeah. Oh my God. I was like, wait, we swapped. And I was like, oh wait, no, we didn't. No, we didn't.
I know. See, I remember that very vividly. And I remember War Dog gave the answer for, it was like whatever percentage it was. And Jeff was like, I don't know how you figured that out, but I'm going to believe you. And it was unbelievably low.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. That was an insane. I viscerally remember picking up the, I guess, package that we have, unwrapping it, immediately looking to see what Kelly had, seeing she had green, getting so excited, kind of looking around, and then clocking that nobody else over there had green, and not really knowing what that meant, and then looking around and being like, oh my God, there's no way that every one of us has green. There's no way. And yeah, I thought about it a lot in the last episode, obviously, because there was that swap, and you have, I guess, the Shaheen, Joe, and Thomas go to the Green Tribe's camp, and they're just making fun of it. They're tearing it apart. They're like, this place sucks. This is so bad. And I put it on my Instagram story. I go, Kelly, imagine if someone had to go to the Lesu camp. We did not even have any bamboo set up. We were sleeping in the mud, and we stuck this like literal palm frond up at the back just to block the wind occasionally. Like, there was no camp.
How does that happen when you're on a tribe with David and Kelly, though? Because they played before, so they should know this stuff. Because when I think about this tribe, at least like Green, they were losing nonstop. They had no flint. They're all newbies. They don't know what's going on. Do we have to put a lot of blame on Kelly and David?
No. Remember, we went. So Lestu was a completely new beach. So not only did we suck and lose for 8 days, we then get put on the new beach with absolutely nothing, and we keep losing, and it keeps raining, and we're sleeping in the mud, and we're just too tired. We're like, we don't really care. We're not going to be here forever. We've got what, 8 days? Fine, whatever. We'll sleep in the mud. There just was not enough. I talked to people a lot about this, about what is the reward of your energy output, and the reward for expending all of that energy to build a shelter was just not worth it to us. Yeah. We're like, we don't care. We're barely here anyway because we're at tribal all the time.
And so speak to that, because that's what a lot of people were looking at. It was like Joe, Shaheen and Thomas and Kyle and Camilla, everybody's like, that tribe is going to dominate. They're going to win every challenge. They're not going to lose. But then they get sent to that tribe. How much does having like a terrible camp or no camp in your situation really impact the performances and everything like that? Or does it not make that big of a difference and they just sucked at the challenge?
So I would say I don't have experience coming from, which both of those, because you had 2 orange and 2 purple, if I'm correct, coming from tribes that won. So I lost. I was at tribal council all the time. And what people don't really see is the amount of time and energy expended to go to tribal council is significant. And so when you're on a tribe that wins, okay, the sun goes down, everybody's like, kumbaya, let's go to sleep. Great. Everyone's asleep. They wake up the next morning. Sleep is, sleep as much as you can. But when you're losing, that is I don't know, make it up a number, but let's go with a 6 to 7 hour energy output where you have to not only mentally exhaust yourself with the paranoia and the strategy, but you then get on a boat, you then go to tribal council, you then spend all of that time at tribal council, all of that energy, all of that emotional turmoil that might be happening at tribal council. You then are done with tribal council. Your body is experiencing what just happened, if you're lucky enough to still be on the tribe. You then wait to get on the boat. Then you get on the boat, and then you get off the boat. You're probably wet when you get off the boat. You then have to get back to tribal, or get back to your camp. Then you have to kind of give those confessionals about what just happened. And then you're trying to scramble to figure out, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And then you can go to sleep. Like, it is a lot of energy, a lot of exhaustion in comparison to a tribe that is winning. And I don't think you see that on screen.
So this tribe still looks like the strongest, even though they have a Thomas. Do you think that they're going to be in trouble then in the next episode, considering I think now in the new era, there's only 1 day in between these tribals?
So really?
Maybe if that. I mean, sometimes it's the next day.
Yeah, we have Shaheen, Joe, Kevin, and Camilla. No, because I think they are going to put Camilla on whatever puzzle they have. So I think they'll be okay. I don't see them going to tribal next. I think that was a one-off for them. Yes, being at this crappy beach is going to suck for them, but I don't see them losing. I think that who was on the other tribe? Hold on, I have my notes of who's on the other tribe. I think the one with, I think purple is going to go. Possibly. We have Star, Eva, David, Charity, and Mary. Is that correct? That sounds right.
Yep, that's that one.
Yeah, yep. I could see them going to tribal next. Only because of the way that the edit was set up. We got a lot of background on kind of how the dynamics of that tribe were set up. So I could see the next episode being focused on them, but what do I know?
Yeah, I mean, and I could see that too. And then we have the other tribe, which, had Bianca telling Say, I want to work with Cedric. And Say says, I don't know if you want to work with Cedric. And, and so we did get the setup of Cedric and Mitch talking to each other, and then Chrissy laying out what's going on over there. So I think last week I was very confident the tribe that lost wasn't going to lose. And I'm very confident once again that tribe is not going to lose. If they end up being one of those tribes that's just a disaster tribe, I don't know what these challenges are. Like last week, it was very clearly the puzzle got the better of them and they just could not figure it out. But the lead that they had in the physical portion of that challenge, if they have that lead again and just understand Camilla's better at puzzles than these guys, it doesn't matter how heavy those blocks are. Have Joe go do the puzzle with Camilla. He can lift them up. She can do everything else. I just don't see how they blow that big of a lead. It's not like everybody else was that great at the puzzle. It took the tribes a little bit to do the puzzle. They were just awful. So I'm still confident too. But I'll probably be eating my words just like last week where I was Thomas was my winner pick. So I'm devastated.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't see any of those 4 going home, which is why I'm saying that they don't go to tribal. Mm-hmm. I think those 4 make it through this next episode. So I'm going to be confident with you in that the Green Tribe does not go to tribal.
Mm-hmm. To the other season 50 stuff, because every time you talk 48, you have to talk 50 instead. Like that is, I feel bad for the 48 cast because that's happening. Like you didn't have it
49 cast.
Right. The 49 cast might as well not even exist. But I feel like you had that a little bit, right? Because with 38, there was starting to be the rumors of what 40 could be, what 40 could be. Mm-hmm. And then Islands of the Idols, it was just like, okay, we're ready for Winners at War. And then Islands of the Idols with all the controversy and stuff. But it was around your time because I remember after your season ended, we all already knew. I think it was at your finale. We all pretty much knew the winners are flying out. Yeah. So it didn't totally overshadow your season. It was a little bit later in the season that it started to take over. So I do feel bad for what the 48 cast is currently going through because it's just.
I also think it's different because there was a set amount of people that they could choose from. It wasn't like, they could pick anyone from all 49 seasons. It's like you have you have 39 winners that you can choose from, and 10 have to be women and 10 have to be male. So it really did lessen the conversation around who it was going to be. And I think that's always what dominates the conversation is who's it going to be? Do we want this person? Do we want this person? But yeah, I think once 39 aired, 40 was the topic of the conversation primarily.
Yeah. I mean, it's even crazy. Like we're talking with 50, we were doing the Second Chance 2 ballot last January. Then this January is when I jumped on with Mike Bloom and Mike Bloom and we did our pick your 8-person tribe, dreaming that it was going to be a 24-person season. Yeah. I mean, that's 2 winter off seasons that this has been dominating the conversation. So people are dying to know. And all of the things that we're voting on have nothing to do with the players and nothing to do with the format, really.
Yeah, no, I don't think that. I think when Jeff announced, I remember it so clearly when he said 50 is going to be a returner season. I remember making a video and being like, Jeff is crazy for this because you guys realize that the next set, like the 48 and 49ers, have not even flown out to film yet. Because it was April of last year. And I was like, the 48ers and 49ers have not even flown out to film yet. And he's already like, 50 going to be a returner. And it was just the Survivor community in absolute chaos. And I was like, Jeff is so messy for that.
And that's when you started getting the actual phone calls, right? You had your fake phone call.
It was actually before that. Jeff was like, listen, we're not doing 50 if you can't be
okay. Do you mind if you build a statue of your head too?
Yeah. It's like, can you clear your schedule? I was like, Jeff, oh my God, this is so embarrassing for you. Stop begging. Stop begging. It's like, if Kelly can come, I'll go.
There you go. The other 2 votes, it was advantages. It was do we want minimal power on the advantages, strategic power on the advantages, or dynamic power on the advantages?
I did read those. I was confused by the wording. I was like, what do you mean strategic power on the advantages? Like, okay. Yeah, what did you vote for?
I voted minimal. I want minimal so bad. Dynamic is just going to be more disaster. And like, I don't need to watch people roll dice and all that. I want like idols, extra votes. That's all I want. That's it. That's all I
want. Yes. I don't mind the implementation of advantages when they are forced to find them. They are forced to use them in a way that is strategic versus having to roll dice and being forced to lose your vote. It's like, I think you should have a choice. There's so much luck in Survivor as is that implementing something that forces them to have a disadvantage by pure luck is really frustrating for me. Yeah. But I guess, that's how I feel about that.
And the thing is, like with the idols this year and with last season, I feel like they've done such a better job of how they're having to find them, right? Like they're putting them on a scavenger hunt almost.
I just think that was fun.
Game. I think it's a really good idea. More of that is fine. Keep it compelling. And, if Star doesn't find this, she doesn't get her vote back. I'm okay with Star not getting her vote back because she couldn't solve the puzzle.
Totally.
But I'm not okay with I rolled dice. Oops.
Yes.
Like, that's
I agree. Yeah. I really enjoyed kind of those OG seasons where they had just started implementing the hidden immunity idol, and you had to solve a clue to find your hidden immunity idol. I always thought that was fun. I think the way that they implemented it this season was fun as well. I personally enjoyed the fact that I didn't have to solve a clue to activate mine. It would be exhausting, but I think that is fun. But again, it speaks to, are they smart enough? Are they strategic enough? Are they able to do something versus were they lucky? Mm-hmm. And I think that that's where the difference for me lies.
Yeah. And I feel like with minimal advantages, they're still going to put in more than what they had in like Gabon and Fans vs. Favorites and Tocantins. They're going to have more.
They have to.
So you might as well pick minimal and see what they consider minimal. That's what I want to know. I want to know what they consider minimal at this point.
I also think that it's
because do they consider the idol nullifier minimal?
I was just about to say that, and because our season 38 filmed, we watched the finale of season 36. So we had seen season 36. I believe they introduced an idol nullifier in season 37.
Yeah, it's when Carl plays it.
Right. So we didn't know about it. Mm-hmm. But I want to say, watching it back, had we known about it, had we known that there was an idol nullifier, I think they told us there was an option for that because I remember towards the end of the game when I was looking for things, I was hoping to find an idol nullifier so that I could use it on Rick. Gotcha. But I don't know why I would have thought that. So I think that they told us that there were idol nullifiers as an option, but they never had them in there. So I think that just the idea that there possibly could be something in the game and you don't know what it is and you don't know where it is and you don't know when it will be active it causes paranoia without even having to be in play.
Yeah, and so I want to see what minimal looks like. I'm in on that. You guys did have an idol nullifier. It was called Edge of Extinction, where everybody knew what everybody's advantages were. So that was what nullified your idol. Is that everybody knew you had an idol? So
okay,
you're mattered.
I have to disagree with you. I love that narrative because it does make me sound better than I think. It takes the blame off of me, but I do have to stand by what I have said since the very beginning. I was going to play my idol for Chris regardless of if he knew that I had an idol or not. Kelly telling them I had an idol didn't faze me. I assumed she had told them because I did not think the people on the Edge of Extinction were playing the game. I thought they were over there on vacation, chilling, sharing margaritas and spilling secrets. To me, her telling them was just like, heck yeah, no, everybody knows I have an idol. Let's go. Like, I was not stressed by that. And I would have played my idol for Chris regardless of if he knew or not, because I didn't know that Rick had been given an idol when he got back from Edge of Extinction. But I also did not know that they were working together and they were going to vote for Victoria. So
see, this is supposed to be your season 50 audition tape, Lauren.
I stand by it. Absolutely. I have nothing. I think that what did Jeff say? He said something along the lines of like, we don't want someone who has a bone to pick or something to prove. Like, I have stood by every decision I made out there. I said, listen, that was stupid, or I would do it again. Absolutely. But if you want me to say, oh my gosh, it was somebody else's fault or whatever, it wasn't. It was mine.
And then the last one here was the Final Four challenge. It was, do you want the 46 final immunity challenge, the 47 final immunity challenge, or Samotion? So yeah, I picked 46. It was the one where it's like the Plinko game that Ben wins, where he puts the ball up and then he has to put the puzzle together, but the ball can't fall down the Plinko board.
Oh, isn't that Kelly's?
No, first time we saw it was 46, at least in this iteration. So.
Oh, okay. Kelly had the game with the balls.
I forget which one Kelly had. What was second chance? Somebody in the chat's going to know. But anyway, those were the votes there. The most important one was the advantages. What's your take on this? Now 48 gets their love, right? It's got to be awful to be the winner of 48 right now. It's like Tommy. I was really close with Tommy Sheehan during 39. And I just like understand that frustration of everybody's just looking for 40. Everybody's just looking for 40. And I'm not going to overshadow 48, although we barely talked about them in 19 minutes. So what's your take on this season so far?
Okay. I thought the season is very fun. I've really enjoyed the way that they've implemented like we were talking about the idols. I think that's fun. I've liked the dynamics of the tribes. I'm so glad they did a tribe swap. And I kind of enjoyed the way that the tribe swap happened. one thing that I was actually talking to Kelly about was it's so funny. And I was watching I had to catch up on the last episode with my family last night. And I was telling my family, as the tribe swap happened, the people that have not gone to tribal are always so dumb. Sorry, they're so dumb because they have never gone to tribal and they have never had to vote someone out. And they're just like, oh, I want to go to tribal. I want to vote somebody out. Screw the easy vote. I'm not going to vote out Mary. I'm going to vote out. Here's my person who I've been working with this whole time on a silver platter, because they've just been itching to vote somebody out. They've been itching to do that. And it's what we saw in my season. Kama had never had to go through any adversity whatsoever. They'd never been to tribal. We get to the merge and all of a sudden it's like they're eating each other alive because they just don't know what to do. And I think that that's one of the reasons we saw what happened on Wednesday night happen, because you have Shaheen, Joe, and Thomas who have never been to tribal council. They trust each other fully. They're like, we've never had to test our alliances. We've never had to adjust to the paranoia that comes with going to tribal. And it's like, that was just easy prey for the two people who were on the bottom. So not only were the three of them coming from a tribe that had never lost and had never gone to tribal, they also were in the majority. And so I love the way that the tribes were kind of split up. So I'm really excited for the next few episodes because you have Say and Cedric, who their dynamic's hilarious to me. Like Say said it really well. She said, thank you so much for getting me out of a position that you put me in. I was like, yeah, 100% he did. And so them being on the same tribe is amazing. And then you have Mary, who's kind of that lone wolf, but she's with a bunch of people that have never been to tribal and that don't like each other. Clearly, you've got Charity and David, who Charity's like, yeah, he's pretty much my pawn. And David's like, I don't even like her. And then you have who's other Eva Star. Yeah. Yep. And Eva's like, here, take Star. Everybody feast. And you don't even hear from Star, but Star might have an idol eventually. So I think the dynamics of these tribes are so fun. And I'm very excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I love that you said that about the people who don't go to tribal, because what happens is, like, I know that they're not playing 39 Day Survivor. So we've gone through 4 episodes. But we haven't gone through 12 days. Maybe we're on day 7 or 8 or something like that. I forget exactly where we are. But at the same time, you still get tired of being around the people that annoy you. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we're really seeing here, because you would think in an old school season of Survivor, if there was a tribe swap that had Mary and then 2 from each tribe, the 2 from each tribe would be saying, how can we work together to make sure we keep our original tribe as strong as possible?
Exactly.
And right now, Eva got to that camp. Nobody even sat down yet. And she was already backing the bus up over Star.
I know.
And same thing with Say. You have Say literally having Bianca approach her to make a 3-2 advantage and say, I want to work with you and Cedric. And she says, I don't know if you want to do that. It's insane.
But Say had been to tribal. So I can't even use that as an excuse for her. I get what she's saying. I am hoping that statement was more of a, I don't know if you want to work with Cedric, but we can work with Cedric and it can be a 2 in the big 3, if that makes sense. So like almost like isolating Bianca, giving her doubt about Cedric in their first interaction, then her and Bianca can be tight and they can still use Cedric. But yeah, the Mary one is the perfect example. It's like you have people ready to eat their tribe alive. They're putting them out for dinner on, what did Eva say, a silver platter. And it's so funny to me. It's so funny to me because I could call that from a mile away. It's like, yeah, you guys are, especially I'm assuming in a 26-day season where they're so worried about moving quickly and having a resume and making big moves. They've never been to tribal. They've never had to prove anything. All of a sudden they get the chance and they're like, let's go, big moves. And it just, I don't know, my dad and I have been joking about it, but it's like slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And if I could go back on Survivor, the one thing I would always be telling myself is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Mm-hmm. Because when you're, and I think it was, what was it? It was in the very first episode when they had to go and win the pots and the machetes and things. Was it Kevin?
Yeah, it was Kevin and Kyle who both.
Yeah, and just the way that Kevin did that challenge, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go smooth. I'm just gonna go slow, and I'm not gonna make mistakes." That's how I wish I would have played. Obviously, I'm 7 years older now. I was a baby when I went on there, and I was just, but I think that's what you get when you don't go to tribal. You're like, just, I'm a baby. I just need to do something big. It's like, just chill, everybody take a breath.
Yeah. I know. And we're coming into this and we're going to dive into the power ranking in a second here, but we're coming into this and I look at Mary and she's who I think is the safest on that tribe.
Easily. Mary's not going home. I have her in my little safe category.
And it's crazy because you would never think that, like, just 10 seasons ago, which I know it's like, okay, well, that was a long time ago, but it's like, no, like when we were seeing tribe swaps every season from 22 to 39, when we would see those tribe swaps every season, we would have the conversations here of, did this person get swap screwed because they went to a tribe where they were in the minority? And now we're seeing the people who are in the minority be the most powerful people. I mean, Camilla and Kyle had all the ammunition they needed last week to overthrow the strongest alliance in the game through 4 episodes. Crazy.
On that note, I have a question for you because this has been bugging me. Do you think that Camilla made a mistake by not voting for Kyle?
Well, that's a good question. And I could see that. I think you're the first person who's actually brought that up. I haven't seen that in comments or anything. I like that because now she's revealing that, no, I'm definitely with Kyle. Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
It wouldn't have hurt her. I don't know. Again, there are so many things that are not shown leading up to tribal. I have no idea how the conversations happened. I have no idea what they were worried about happening. But I think the fact that go through Kyle's bag in front of her would have solidified for me. Oh, they're not voting for me. They trust me. Those votes are not going on me. I didn't say anything. I think she played it really well. And I'm not saying she was wrong to vote for Thomas. I just wonder, if she knew, you never know, but you knew that the votes were going on Kyle, and you have kind of spun this narrative that you and Kyle aren't tight. And you know that Kyle's going to play his idol. Throwing a vote on Kyle doesn't necessarily hurt anything. It just makes it seem like you and Shaheen and Joe are still in the majority, and you're now working from a point of knowledge and power versus, oh, we're split 2-2. Maybe, I don't know. There could have been a ton of conversations that happened in the background, but it was something that I was wondering.
I mean, yeah, I think that's a great point. It's something I hadn't really thought about, but it is compelling because Kyle could have found that idol at any time. He could have found it on that beach. He could have found it somewhere else. He could have found, nobody knows. And so Kyle going and playing the idol, Camilla could have pled that she had no idea what was going on. She had no idea that it existed if she wanted to. I wonder if maybe other conversations that went around on that tribe, it was already so obvious that those two were working together that there was just like that, like it was going to be obvious after this vote shook out, no matter what, that Camilla was just like, I don't need to write Kyle's name down. What is interesting though, and I just want to make sure everybody who's listening knows this, Dalton Ross confirmed Kyle and Camilla played the extra vote at this tribal. So we are coming out of this with a 2-2 split. And so there is no extra vote. There are no idols. There is no steal vote. There's nothing over there. So it is a 2-2 split. And so maybe Camilla could have had more ammo there of saying, I'll work with you guys, take out Kyle. Because now they might actually be more pissed at Camilla because Camilla played them so much harder than Kyle did because she sat there while the idol situation was going on and still knew to vote with Kyle. I agree with you. That could be a bad move on her part.
If they for sure played the extra vote, then I question it even more. You have 2 votes from Kyle that are going on Thomas. So even if they go 2 votes on Kyle and they just throw a lone vote on you, Camilla, just to be safe, you already know 2 votes are going on Thomas. There's no reason for you not to vote for Kyle.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But again, it's really easy to say that from the comfort of my home.
Yeah. So, when you don't have all the info and everything like that, but
you can only play with the information you have at the moment. And a lot of times that is very limited information.
Yeah. But I do like where your head's at on that. I think that's a very interesting. How is Camilla going to play this? Kyle's obviously going to play it. As you guys were coming for me, I had an idol, screw you, I don't care. But how is Camilla going to play this now coming back? And what are Shaheen and Joe going to do? And what I'm trying to figure out, and we'll talk about it when we do the power rankings, but if that tribe does go to tribal, who is most likely to vote for who? Shaheen and Joe are super tight. Camilla and Kyle are super tight. But
I think Joe goes home.
You think Joe would go home? You think Shaheen would end up voting with Kyle and Camilla?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I'm curious to hear that when we get there. I don't want you to spoil everything, but I'm curious.
I don't know a single thing, but yeah.
No. I don't want to spoil your power rankings. I'm not saying what's happening. I don't want to spoil your power rankings, but I'm curious to hear why you think Joe. So
I'm curious to find out why I think Joe as well.
Okay, good. There we go. All right. Well, let's dive into the power rankings now. We made it 30 minutes in. If you're this far in, like this video, subscribe to the channel, do all that if you haven't done it yet. Lauren, I'll let you go first. You are competing against so far. Rome got 4 points in week 1. Gordon Holmes got 5 points in week 2, and JD got 7 points last week. So far, the survivors have been doing pretty terrible. So you're coming in here. You just have to do better than like 7 points on your power rankings here.
Right. Okay, I'm ready. Yeah. I'm feeling good about this.
Who do you have at number 1? Who's your safest?
Like for sure safe. Oh, Mitch.
Okay. Why Mitch?
Because I like him.
Okay.
That's my answer. I'm telling you, I preface every single podcast I ever do now, which is very limited, but I go on vibes alone. I don't know anything. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. I didn't win. If I won, I would have a lot more opinions, but I also think that I don't think Mitch is going home because I don't think the edit has given him. I just think edit-wise, he's not going home next episode. I think that tribe, he has Cedric on his team. I think Cedric, Say, and Bianca and Mitch work together, and they take out who's that other person?
Either Chrissy or Say. You're saying so Bianca, Cedric, Mitch work together. Say, I mean, Bianca doesn't have a vote, so that's the only thing that would hurt that.
Yeah, but I think that, I don't think that tribe goes to tribal though. So that's another thing that I'm throwing out there. I just think that the Mitch and Cedric alliance hasn't been. I don't think we're done with that storyline yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it came in so fast. Yeah, I could see that. I'm gonna have my number 1 as the person who played his idol last week, and that's gonna be Kyle. I know that could be seen as, but isn't he threatening or something? And I'm like, not really. Like Kyle and Camilla aren't going to vote for each other. I don't see any way after they pulled this move that Kyle or Camilla write each other's names down this week if they go to tribal. Plus, again, if that tribe loses 2 immunity challenges in a row with who is on that tribe, I just don't understand what the challenge is. Like is the challenge your smallest member has to hold your biggest? Like, I don't get it at this point. Like, it just doesn't make sense how they would lose 2. I'm shocked they even lost 1. So I feel good about that tribe, and I'm going to put Kyle at 1, even though he may be seen as vulnerable. Shaheen and Joe are more likely to turn on each other probably than those 2 are. So
I think that. Can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You just froze for a sec, but you're good.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think Kyle's in my 2 position right now. I think Kyle might be my winner pick after 4 episodes. I know you're supposed to make your winner pick before the first episode or something, but I caught up on all the episodes this weekend, so there's that. I think he's just been playing really well. I think he's safe. Like I said, I think that if it comes down to those 4 going to tribal, I think Shaheen would flip on Joe. Mm-hmm. Out of pure
self-preservation.
Yeah. I think that he's just going to be like, okay, listen, I make it to another day. At that point, it's like, make it to another day. I think that Camilla and Kyle have the capability to say, we're not going to rocks, or we're not switching on each other. We'll go to rocks. Like, I could see those 2 being crazy and wild and being like, I'll go to rocks. Kind of like we did on my season when we had that split tribal. And we had to vote one person out with like Gavin's tribe. And we're like, we'll go to rocks. Mm-hmm. We were not going to rocks. They're going to rocks. But we convinced them we were going to rocks. So I think that I would believe Camilla and Kyle would go to rocks over Shaheen and Joe. And so I think that Shaheen jumped ship first, because I think that I love Joe. I think he's super loyal. I think he's awesome. I think that he will believe that Shaheen and him are we're together. It's us till the end. And I think that Shaheen would backstab him in like a very thoughtful, kind way.
Yeah, exactly. And what do you want me to do? Like, I have to stay in the game, and I don't want to leave it up. I mean, I've said this all week. I'm not drawing rocks at Final 14. No way.
God,
If I
no.
have an
Absolutely
out,
not.
I'll take my out and I'll take my chances that that stacked tribe doesn't lose 3 times
Yeah.
before a merge. Like, there's no way. And there's so many advantages and idols and twists and things like that. Just keep yourself alive every cycle, and you have a better chance. There's always a way to win in this new
Make it
era.
to the next day. Make
Yeah.
it to the next day. That should be everyone's mantra. Make it to
Yeah.
the next day.
So you have Kyle at 2.
Yeah, I do.
You think Kyle's your winner pick?
Maybe.
You're
For now.
wrong on that. It's David's gonna win. David's gonna win. David's gonna win. That's what we've
That's your winner pick, David?
Yeah. Yeah. It was Thomas. And now that Thomas is gone, I have to jump ship, and it's David. David's edit is perfection. And this guy on this
David's
tribe.
edit is perfection?
Yes. You know more about David right now than his
Girlfriend
family
broke
does.
up with him because he's poor.
Yeah, that's great. But from a survivor standpoint,
Followed it up with, so when I get off this island, I'm asking her to marry me because she's perfect. I'm like, what? Did we just hear this? No chance. And then, yeah, that's hilarious. I think he is. I texted Kelly after the first episode. I go, love him. He's fantastic TV. But winner pick edit is a crazy statement. But maybe I could be wrong.
I feel like we know more about him than his family does at this point. He is getting so much personal content, and the fact
Which
that
is
they
why I
brought up
think he could probably go out next episode.
the fact that they've brought up that girlfriend now twice about how he's going to get his million and save that relationship, and he's going to win, and she's going to be a stay-at-home mom and everything. I think they're bringing that up because that's the story.
That's the story. I hear you. I have a few thoughts on that. One, girl, that's hilarious. You said, listen, you're poor and I'm not trying to live that life. That's amazing. But David, baby, if she doesn't like you when you're poor, like, what? She's just going to jump to the next guy. Like, Survivor pays out $1 million. There are people that make more than $1 million, you know? I don't know. My 2 cents. My 2 cents on that. Maybe he wins. I think he's super fun. I hope he stays in for a long time. I do. I think the him and Eva relationship is very interesting to me. I think they're fun.
And that's why I think he's ultimately fine, because I think him and Eva will work together. And if Star is able to flip things, Star will want to vote Eva out of the game. If Charity tries to vote David out, I think they will all align to vote.
I think Charity's first to go on that tribe.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I think that David's in a good spot there. I think the whole thing about the sisters and how he had to grow up around nothing but women, so that's going to help him and everything. I think that he is being set up to make a deep run in the game. I have to jump ship on Thomas because Thomas let me down. Thomas is out of the game. I'm super sad. So I have to come in here, and I'm going to say David, to me, is getting the best edit. And I think, and everybody's, been given a hard time to this princess girlfriend who with the money thing, but he said in his last episode, I have to grow up. I needed to do more. And I was living
I'm not giving her a hard time at all. I'm giving him a hard time.
Yeah, well, that too. But I just feel like with this situation, I feel like there's probably so many layers that they're not going to put into Survivor because the normal audience is not going to listen to that complicated BS.
Oh, 100%. I think it is I thought it was the funniest line to put in there. I look at a lot of Survivor episodes now from the standpoint of what they chose to include. Mm-hmm. Them including that was hilarious to me because they absolutely did not need to put that little tidbit in there. I'm sure there's a million other things he said about her. I'm sure she is perfect. I'm sure she's fantastic. I think the fact she left him because he's poor and that was his takeaway, there's no way that's why. There's no way that's why, babe. Unless that is why. And then it's like, $1 million ain't gonna do it for you then. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know.
I wanted to at that point, right?
Right. And I just thought it was hilarious that he said, she left me because I'm poor. I'm asking her to marry me because she's perfect. It was such a funny juxtaposition.
Do you think that the reason Jeff is crying in the next episode is because David tells this story at Matt Chat and Jeff just starts breaking down crying?
Jeff's like, I've never been poor a day in my life. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. But this is touching me on a different level. What do you think? Yeah. What are the tiers? I know now that we brought up the tiers finally, and now we get off David's back. What are the tiers?
I'm not on David's back. I am rooting for him. I think he's fantastic TV. I just think it's hilarious that they put those 2 lines together because I doubt he said those 2 back to back.
Look, David's edit so far, they kept the 4 nipples in. They're keeping all of this stuff in about the girlfriend. They had him talking about like Notting Hill, and if you like your steaks well done, then you're a psychopath.
I have some. You know what? No, I have something to say about the Notting Hill thing. That's when I knew that, like, listen, your opinion doesn't matter to me. You're claiming to be a rom-com guy, and your favorite rom-com is Notting Hill.
What's your answer?
Not Notting Hill. He was way too good for her. That is she sucks. She sucks in that movie. That's a terrible rom-com.
But it's Julia Roberts.
Right, but in the context of that movie, they should not be together. That is a crazy take for that being your favorite rom-com.
What's your go-to? You don't have a number one here?
A number one rom-com?
That jumps to your head now that it's not you're so confident it's not Notting Hill. Do you have a rebuttal?
I'm pulling up my list for everyone.
Oh, okay. We have a whole list.
Yeah. So this is my movies I like notes app, so everyone can see it.
Jessica Chastain movies has its own subheading.
Of course.
Okay.
As it should. But look, rom-coms and rom-com adjacent movies. Notting Hill's not even on there because it's not a good movie, okay? We've got 27 Dresses This Teen Wore, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, What Happens in Vegas, 13 Going on 30. Fantastic. That might be my number one. Sweet Home Alabama, 2 Weeks Notice, What a Girl Wants, Freaky Friday, Parent Trap, Coyote Ugly, Ella, Enchanted, John Tucker Must Die. Again, rom-com adjacent.
Yeah, that's adjacent.
Pretty Woman, My Best Friend's Wedding, Enchanted, Bride Wars, Set It Up, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Life as We Know It. Great movie. Love Rosie, Killers, Cinderella Story. All right, sorry. Okay. I took a lot of time on that, but I felt very strongly about his Notting Hill reference.
I'm curious what David's rebuttal would be to your answers. You have to remember too, David's getting closer to 40, so like Notting Hill was like, I guess his age when he was watching Notting Hill. That was your age when Forgetting Sarah Marshall came out. I'm pretty sure. I think you guys are probably about 10, 11 years apart. I think he's 38, 39. Oh, I don't know how old you are, Lauren. When you said you played 7 years ago, I was like, oh my God, we're aging. Really? Wow, we're aging fast.
I know. I was 21 when I went on the show.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's insane. I know. I was talking to Bryce the other day, and I found out Bryce was only 3 years older than me. And when I guessed his age, he got so mad at me. And I was like, no, but Bryce, I literally watched you on my TV when I was like 20 years old. I don't believe that you're my age when I'm watching you on TV.
Totally. No, I get that. I think on the Survivor 50 thing, I think one fun thing is when they bring returners back is seeing the evolution of that person between the time that you first saw them and the second time that you see them. And just so you know, Jeff, nobody changes more than when they're 21 to 28 years old. So imagine putting someone like that on.
But you've already told him that so many times, so it doesn't matter.
I have. He already knows. Okay, sorry. That was my little. I really took us off track.
No, you're fine. We were supposed to do this podcast at 3, but Lauren had to push it back an hour because she had a phone call with Jeff. That's what happened.
I did. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Sorry.
Exactly. To explain why David's taste is bad and why she can't handle it. All right. Who do you have at number 3? So you got Mitch, you got Kyle. Who's your 3?
Let me see who I have at number 3. Mary.
I have Mary as well. I think Mary's in a phenomenal spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Mary ain't going home. No chance. No chance.
And now that Mary's survived the chaos that was, she should have been the boot for episode 2. She should have been the boot for episode 3. She survives both. She's still alive. She's now in a good position. Can Mary win, in your opinion? Do you think she can actually pull it off?
I think if Mary gets to the end, she has a fantastic story and she wins. That's why I don't think she makes it to the end. I think anybody, but also I do think it's important to know nobody else saw that turmoil. I think a big thing that I had to really come to terms with when I was thinking, okay, long term, when I was, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in the final 3, blah, 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 whatever. Everyone thinks that. What is my story? You have to realize my season was different because everybody was on the jury, but on a normal season, only from the merge on, what you did from the merge on is really what's going to impact those people and what those people care about. So yes, Mary has had a great resume up until now. The only people that care are back home. The only people that experience it are back home. Like, they don't care anymore. And I don't think that the jury is impressed by things that didn't directly impact them or they didn't directly see. And the only person that I think is going to be impressed by that would be Say. Or Cedric, I guess.
Do you think, though, that it might actually benefit her if she can play a good game in the post-merge? She could get to the end because nobody knows what she was doing in the pre-merge? Like, it could help, right? It actually is beneficial at one point. If Cedric or Say go home this week, Mary, all of a sudden, all of her
Cedric
dirty
need to
laundry
be on the jury for it to matter. What I'm trying to say is that, yes, I think her resume is great, but I think that when you are speaking to a jury, the jury have only that she hasn't played with up until, the jury is from the merge on. Mm-hmm. So really, like, your resume, I think, starts at the merge, mm-hmm. because those are the people you're speaking to. Those are the people that were impacted by your actions, and those are the actions that those people saw firsthand. Me saying I played my shot in the dark, yeah, it's impressive, it's awesome, it's cool. Say and Cedric are going to think it's crazy because they saw the emotional impact of that. I don't think it hits as hard with people that weren't there and didn't see it. So yes, she has a phenomenal resume right now. Is she able to convince a jury of whatever the original Purple Tribe was that she had it really hard? No. Yeah. Sorry, they're not, because they didn't experience that. They don't even understand what it's like to be on a tribe that loses over and over again and goes to tribal over and over again. So I think she would need to continue building her resume in order to win. But I think she could make it to the end. I just don't think Say and Cedric bring her to the end, because against Say and Cedric, she beats them.
Yeah, she beats them. I know. And Say and Cedric have to work out their own stuff over here on that tribe if that tribe goes. So, Mitch is going to be the one who determines who's going home there, according to you. So who's your 4?
Let's see who my 4 is. I'm not really sure. Oh, I'm going Star.
So you think Star is going to win the battle over there?
I think that we did not see any of Star in this last episode. And I'm not saying this is always true. I actually do think once they moved it to 90-minute episodes that the editing changed, because I could usually read the formula of an edit that, like, the episode before someone was going home, they would get some big tidbits. They've changed that, but I do think that Star's story isn't done, and I don't think that she goes home next episode.
Mm-hmm. I'm worried about Star. I don't have Star up there. I think that tribe comes down. I mean, I've already listed 2 of them in my top 3. I think it comes down to Star or Charity. I'll dive into why I think one of them goes over the other when I get there, but I think that Star could be in trouble. Star has been a side character in everybody else's story so far. And I think that's what worries me for her to go home, is if the editors didn't want us to, like, fall in love with Star, who I feel like would be somebody very easy for the audience to like because she is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If they wanted us to fall in love with her, they would have had us do that by now. And the fact that she's been a side character scares me into thinking, could she be the 14th place person?
So I hear that. Again, all of this is said with absolutely zero authority whatsoever, you guys. I am extremely over opinionated and underqualified to be making this statement. However, I will say that I think that when you're building a reality TV show, you want that, especially on Survivor, the person voted out, you want to have at least some emotional impact. You want people to care just a little bit. You're right. She's been the side character this entire time. I don't care if she goes home tomorrow. So that's why I think that she's safe, because I think that if we see a ton of her in this next episode, then the next episode she goes home.
I gotcha.
Because it's like, then I actually am like, oh, wait, no, I know about Star. It's like, if you send somebody home that we haven't seen anything about, everyone's like, oh, well, I don't care. That was a bummer episode. I think in order for someone to be really, really in trouble in the next episode, we need to have had at least a little bit of their story.
And I agree with that, because I thought Bianca was in trouble at the swap because she went 117 and then it was the swap. And in terms of confessionals. So I was like, oh man, is Bianca going to go home because they just totally ramped her edit up? Yeah. And now she's going to end up getting booted. And I mean, we'll talk about Bianca's place on that tribe. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's great awful, but it's whatever. I have Mitch at 4. I thought the Cedric conversation was huge. I think Chrissy is totally content to be on a tribe with Mitch. She doesn't dislike Mitch. That's not her closest ally, but Chrissy, Mitch, Cedric could be the deciding vote there and could decide to just vote Say out of the game. Mm-hmm. I think Mitch and Cedric are going to play together. Cedric just isn't, in my opinion, I don't think Cedric will vote for Say. So I think Mitch and Chrissy will ultimately be the ones who are deciding who goes home on that tribe, because I could see Say voting for Cedric voting for Bianca, and then it comes down to Chrissy and Mitch of, do they want Say out or do they want Bianca out? And I think it would go one of those ways, because right now I feel like the edit is setting up for Say to vote for Cedric the next time that tribe goes to tribal council.
Yeah. I like that.
Who's your 5?
Say.
Why now? Why do you feel like she's 5? So you have her as the second safest person on that tribe behind only Mitch. What
I
is it?
feel like we do need to be
Uh-oh.
clear that my top 10 are all relatively like
You feel like they're all
interchangeable.
good.
Yeah, I'm like my top 10, I'm like, yeah, those people are safe. Like I'm just kind of saying we were talking about Say. All right, Say is number 5.
Well, okay, so what do you think about Say's game then? There, I'll ask you that instead of why
Yes.
5 instead of 6. I'll ask
That's
you,
great.
what do you think about her game?
Because I think within that tribe, you have Bianca coming to her. You have Cedric, who I think is just innately a good guy and probably feels bad about having voted her. Probably not going to vote for her. I think that she can easily bully her way through a vote, and I think that she can easily persuade everyone to vote for who she wants to vote for. I don't know if that's Bianca or Cedric yet. It could be Chrissy too. Like I think that tribe is in trouble, which is why I'm like Mitch and Say. I got to get them out of the way because I think they're safe. But the rest of those 3 are probably going to be at my bottom.
Yeah,
solely because I don't know.
yeah, I think that's fair. Say's play at that 4-person tribal where she convinced Cedric to stay in the game, I thought was so well done, and I think that if Say were to play Survivor a second time, right? Like let's already look to 50 and say, what if Say is the person who plays Survivor 50? I think Say's biggest lesson from this season is it's okay to just kind of give people lip service, because when Bianca came up to her and said, I want to work with you and Cedric, and she says, I don't know about Cedric, I think you got to say to Bianca, sure, let's do that. And then maybe at a later time talk to her about it. Because I feel like by putting that out in the world, now Bianca's going, okay, well, that's not the side to go with. I'm going to go with Mitch and Chrissy instead.
No, 100% I agree with you on that. I will say there is one Survivor moment that I think about a lot, and it is in Heroes vs. Villains when Parvati finds an idol and she pulls Danielle away. Danielle, her and Russell are in a 3. She pulls Danielle away and she tells Danielle about it immediately. And it, to me, came from this place of, okay, I know that this is a threesome. I know I'm Russell's number 1. I want to make sure that I'm also Danielle's number 1. So that instead of it being like a Russell, Danielle, Parvati, it now becomes a Parvati, Russell, Danielle, if that makes sense. Like she is now the center. And I want to believe that maybe there were more conversations that happened between Bianca and Say, and Say was like, oh, I have fireworks going on.
Why did that just happen?
Because I'm so smart. Because I'm so brilliant. That was the craziest thing that
I have never seen that ever on this. I don't think that's a StreamYard thing. I think your computer was proud of you for hitting 5 o'clock. Do you have like something? No, it's 2 o'clock on the West Coast. So that doesn't even make sense.
I don't know. That was celebrate. Is that maybe it sounded like I was saying celebrate? That was really weird.
That was wild. Okay, I forget what your point was now. It was a good one. You were on a heater of ranking people, and then fireworks went off behind your head.
Well, someone said, get Lauren on 50, please. So that's probably why.
That's what it was. This comment popped up, and StreamYard was like, give her flowers. Let's go. Fireworks. Unreal.
I don't even know what just happened there, but
I have no clue. Okay.
My whole point is that there's so many conversations that we don't see that Bianca, for me, the Bianca going up to Say and giving her like, hey, I want to work with you guys, felt very disconnected. Like it felt kind of random. I don't know if maybe I missed something, but it felt random. So I felt like there must have been conversations that had happened prior to that, maybe between Say and Bianca to make Bianca want to do that. I don't know. But to me, it felt like I'm good to work with you, and I think you should want to work with me, but just know you might not want to work with Cedric. Like a very subtle, like, yeah, we can be a 3, but I want to make sure that I'm at the top of that 3. Maybe. Or maybe she genuinely is just throwing Cedric out. But I think it was, I agree with you. And like, if that was the first conversation, then Bianca's probably like, wait, this isn't as tight as I thought it was. I'm hoping it was more of from a strategic point of, yeah, let's work together, but just be careful about Cedric, because I'm not as tight with Cedric. So there's an in between you and me.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I'm giving you that info. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I still have Say lower, but
That's
not
fine.
that much lower. Not
Yep.
that much. I actually have Shaheen at 5. And I feel like people are probably going to think that's crazy because like one of his closest allies just went home. He was totally blindsided, bamboozled,
like
whatever. The thing is though, with these two tribes with that tribe being 2-2 now and knowing that Kyle and Camilla don't have the extra vote, if they might say we want to vote Shaheen out because he is more powerful. He's got a better mind for the game. We'd rather him out. Joe's not going to flip on Shaheen. It's just not.
I think too. That's what I'm saying is I don't think Joe is going to flip on Shaheen. And I just think that from what we've seen, I don't know them as people. Obviously, I have actually met Shaheen. He's so kind, so like personable. I can totally understand why someone would just listen to him talk and be like, yeah, whatever you're saying is so right. Like, fantastic. But I think that he is, from the edit we have seen, is more likely to tend to the side of self-preservation than Joe is. And I think it's because they have set Joe up to be this caretaker with Eva. And it's like that narrative doesn't match with someone who is this caretaker for Eva, has been so kind and so gentle with her and such a like brother-father figure with her, to then turn on his closest ally is it's just too big of a switch up in their narrative.
Yeah, I agree. And Shaheen is being shown to be, I won't do what Thomas was doing, but I'm also going to try to play nice with everybody. And if this is where the numbers are going, I'm going to run over and I'm going to go with where the numbers are going.
That's what I think. I think it is a self-preservation in a strategic way. I think Shaheen's playing a great game. I mean, but again, we haven't seen them go to tribal or do anything. And and just to be completely frank, the last tribal was a misread. It was a misread. I will say one thing that I did notice about Shaheen is that every single time he has a confessional, it is in stark contrast to the reality. And it's right after it happens, which I think is so interesting. Like, they show him having an idol. Shaheen is on the confessional like, bro doesn't have an idol, no chance. It is such an interesting thing.
The acting conversation, they're not that good of actors. I don't even need to worry about it. And then they're acting perfectly and they're explaining why they're acting. I know Shaheen had a bad episode from a winning perspective last week.
That's why, but I did say Kyle was my winner edit and he didn't have a great first episode. But that's what I thought was really interesting. But I still don't think he goes home.
So who do you have at 6?
We'll throw David in there.
There you go. Fine.
My Notting Hill King.
You roasted the poor man. You came with.
I didn't roast him. I told him his opinion was wrong.
You had 15 movies ready to go on the man and tell him Notting Hill wasn't even in consideration. And you don't even have those ranked. You just know they're better.
Correct.
Honestly, though, like, let's be real, David. My best friend's wedding should have been the answer to your question there.
And guess what? My best friend's wedding was on my list.
I know. And when you said that one, I was like, that's the Julia Roberts movie you should be going with from the late 90s. That lobster scene where they're dancing lobster hands.
And Kevin Lewis is like perfect. She's such perfection in that movie. Whatever. I've lots of thoughts on movies, but Notting Hill is not the correct answer, unfortunately.
So David drops to 6 because he picked the wrong one.
Because he's a Notting Hill.
I'm surprised you didn't just throw him at 14 for the hell of it. To be like, David, your rom-com taste is no good.
Apparently, there's still. I didn't actually know that we were in competition with points, so now I'm realizing that I need to be a little bit more careful with my placements.
Well, you're in like half competition. It's like all for fun, but you got. I mean, right now, pretty much what's happened is the 3 guests that I've had on up to this point haven't even had the person who went home in their bottom half.
Oh,
so you got to at least get that.
I will say, I said this earlier. It is difficult for me to read the edit now. Like, I'm saying all this stuff about the edit. The edit felt very, and I'm not like on Reddit, like, oh, the edit, blah, blah, blah. It was more so like, what are they choosing to show and who are they choosing to highlight in a specific episode? And especially like the promos would help me decide like, okay, yeah, this person is definitely safe. I couldn't tell you like who was going home, but this person was definitely safe. I don't feel that way anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm choosing to go with my gut on this.
Okay. I actually have Cedric at 6, and I feel like a lot of people are going to think Cedric is in danger because saying don't trust Cedric, but she said that to Bianca Bianca has no vote. So if Bianca and Say team up, that's 1 vote on Cedric. Mitch and Cedric really bonded last week. And so I think that Mitch and Cedric will work together, but Cedric won't be willing to vote Say out of the game. Yeah. And so I think what will end up happening is Mitch, Chrissy, and Cedric, they might not all vote the same way, but they're also probably not going to vote with Say if Say wants to vote Cedric out of the game. Yeah. So I think we could get a 2-1-1 on this tribe. And I could see Bianca, or a 3-1-0, and Bianca's the person who goes home. But I have a really hard time seeing how Cedric goes home, because the only way Cedric goes home is if Chrissy or Mitch decide to vote for Cedric. And I don't think that either one of them is going to want to do that at this point, especially not Mitch. And if Chrissy wants to stay tight in any way, shape, or form with her tribe, then don't do this. And Camilla was shown a couple episodes ago talking about, I got this advantage, and it's to take out Loggy. Well, now a Loggy person went home, and if Chrissy and Mitch want to stay in the good graces of Camilla and Kyle, Bianca might be the person to get rid of there because she was on original Loggy. So that's where my head is at, and I'm going to
I agree with you. I do have Bianca, I think, going home, but we'll get there.
Wow, spoilers. We're at an hour. Don't give it away now. You've barely been here. No.
People are like, God, she talks so much. Get to the point.
Right. I know. That's okay. I think right now you're on pace to still be the shortest episode so far of these. So, you're good.
I got you.
Who's your 7?
I'm going to go with Camilla.
It's the first time either one of us have said her. Do you think Camilla's move at that last tribal, like the way she played that up, is there any way that Shaheen and Joe will ever trust her? And if this tribe does win and they get to emerge, is she public enemy number 1 to those guys?
I think that they're on their heels, but they're not in enough of a position of power to, how do I word this? They're not in a position of power in order to make her pay for her actions, if that makes sense. So I think between the time now and the merge, so there's so much time in Survivor world, and obviously not as much as there usually was, but there's so much time that there's so much that can happen that I don't necessarily know that it's going to be something that they're like, we have to get her out, because they're not in a position of power to do that right now. But I do think that if those two make it to the merge, it's in the back of their head they can't take her to the end.
Yeah.
But I don't think they want to take them to the end. So I don't think it really matters.
And I think that, like, if they get to the merge and Camilla's there, they will go to whatever Loggy is left and they will say, Camilla is good, Kyle is good. They're going to go to Say or Mary or Cedric, if whoever's left, and say, those two are really good. And I think that they could get Camilla, but there's nothing they can really do about her right now.
Right. And that's kind of why I said what I said originally about, was it a mistake not to vote for Kyle? Because had she voted for Kyle, she could have said, oh my God, he had an idol? What? And they can continue to play up this, we don't even know each other. So now it's her and Joe and Shaheen. And they're like, okay, well, he doesn't have an idol anymore. He doesn't have his extra vote anymore. We're in a position of power. They're telling her everything they're thinking. And then they can at least strategize from there. She's in the circle of knowledge, versus now it's like they're not telling her anything.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know what conversations were had prior to Tribal.
Yeah. I don't have Camilla yet. I don't have her that much lower, but I'm just like, I'm so scared that what if Kyle does something crazy? Or what if Kyle loses his vote? Like it really, on that tribe, it could just come down to who goes and rolls the wrong dice,
which makes me so angry.
Me too. Yeah. I'm glad. See, that's where the old schooler in you of old school Survivor. I'm always happy to get some old schoolers on here, because that makes me so mad.
I just don't enjoy when things are completely out of your control that have been added into the framework of the game. I think that Survivor innately is a lot of luck. It just is. Like, it's just a lot of luck. And to add in aspects of the game that really are a huge detriment to some of the players and are solely based on luck is frustrating for someone who's like, at least let them have the decision. Let them say, like with the Beware advantage, it's like, do I think it's a little annoying? Like, everyone's probably going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to do it. But at least they are able to make that choice versus not having the choice to walk away.
Yeah. I was saying to my parents the other day, because they were like, wasn't that episode great? And I'm like, well, the tribal council was great. I'm like,
Yeah.
the build-up sucked. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, Survivor was the greatest strategy game ever created. And now you're adding in elements of absolute, like if I went to a casino and I picked red or black and put $100,000 on that, people would call me an idiot, but it's pretty much a 50-50 chance. Or how is that any dumber than that?
100%. And it's funny you say that because I was just in Vegas for work and I was explaining to someone, I was like, I play blackjack. I love blackjack. I'm actually pretty good at blackjack. I'm not gonna lie, but I play blackjack because yes, a lot of it is luck, but there is strategy and skill within that game, right? And that's how Survivor feels to me. It's like, yes, there are things of luck. You're on the tribe, like you're dealt the cards you're dealt, but you get to actively decide how you play them versus like roulette or craps or whatever. It's like with roulette, right? It's roulette.
Roulette.
I don't even play, like I do not gamble whatsoever, but if you, like that's pure luck. That is pure luck. And I get that you're deciding, but it's like you don't have any chance with that outcome.
Yeah,
and
you have the same odds. You have the same odds of being red or black. Actually, you have a little bit worse odds of being red or black because there's the greens at the top. But like, just for argument's sake, you have a 50-50 chance on red or black, just like you have a 50-50 chance of rolling these dice. That doesn't belong in Survivor. Like that to me, that doesn't belong in Survivor. So
I agree.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there could be a lost vote. Hopefully it doesn't happen because it's going to screw up my power rankings. But I am going to put, have I said this yet? I don't think so. I've set 7. Pretty much you already talked about her at 5. I think that Say, ultimately, if Chrissy and Mitch want to vote Say out of the game, Say could go home here at this tribal. But I do think that.
I think so. I think that her and Mary have unfinished business.
I know. And that's what the edit there is telling me, that those two need to get back together and be buddy or hate each other one way or the other. We need to see it on our TVs though. So I'm going to stick with Say, and I'm going to put Say at 7 and say, play an aggressive game in the new era. And it can get you at least to the merge. I mean, we saw Rome do it last season. He didn't make the jury, but it gets you through some portions of the game because people are just like, okay, I don't know what to do with you. So,
I mean, I think, was it Mary that was like, it's not worth going against Say?
Pretty much,
was it her? Yeah, it's like, I think that was a really interesting comment because it's like to have the power to literally, like, it's become this phenomenon of a saying of like vote people off the island, but literally you have the power to get rid of someone that you don't want to work with or you don't like. But Say is not polarizing enough of a, like, she's not bullying Mary, I guess, is what I got. It's like she's not making Mary miserable. She's just getting what she wants. And that's frustrating to Mary. I think that's how I read that. And I thought it was a really interesting statement.
Yeah. Who do you have at number 8?
Who do I have at number 8? I have. Did I say, I didn't say Shaheen yet, did I?
No, you haven't.
Yeah, Shaheen.
All right. How does he rebound? What's his move? Like, is there a possibility of him rebounding with Joe, or is he just at the mercy of Kyle and Camilla?
What day are we on? We have. Yikes.
Don't ask hard questions.
Sorry. I mean, I don't know. If it was episode 3 and there's a 39-day game, it would be,
It's day 9. Thomas got voted out. Day 9.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's pretty much every other day. So they're going to have one day in between.
I'm just trying to think about how long until they get to the merge. Because I think if they make it to the merge, like, and they don't go to tribal, they probably have 2 tribals left before merge.
2 more, I think, yeah.
That's my guess. I think there's a possibility they don't go to tribal again. Mm-hmm. That's would be best case scenario for them. I think if they do go to tribal, I think Camilla flips on Kyle before Kyle flips on Camilla.
Really? So now why do we have Kyle at 2 and 1? What are we doing?
I don't think they're going to tribal next episode. We're getting through one episode at a time. I'm just saying, I'm banking on that tribe not going to tribal. If they go to tribal, I'm screwed. Also, I like Kyle. But I think that Camilla is, from the edit, is cutthroat. Camilla's cutthroat. And I think that if Joe and Shaheen come to her and say, listen, we'll go to rocks. It's whoever, I think, if there's no advantages, there's nothing, it's pure strategy. It's who can convince the other to go to rocks. Or they can convince Camilla that Kyle has a better game than her. I don't know. I think that Camilla would flip on Kyle before Kyle would flip on Camilla.
I agree with that. I do. I don't think Kyle I think Kyle can be cutthroat, but I don't think Kyle would want to be cutthroat with Camilla because of what
Right.
they just went through together. Like
Right.
she just saved his ass.
Yeah.
So I have Eva at 8. First person bringing her up. I have her at 8. I think Star or Charity go home there. Jeff is crying about Eva, right? Like we have to assume that this is what's happening. Do we have any guess at like, would Eva be upset? Do you think it's because Thomas went home, or do you think there's more to this? I mean, Jeff
think it's during a challenge. I think it's during a challenge. I think maybe something she starts to get stressed or something happens and her and Joe are no longer on the same tribe. And I just think they've really, really brought up and hammered home that idea that Joe was the only person she had talked to about it. And I think there's a chance that in the middle of a challenge, something starts to happen in which she maybe feels overwhelmed, and he kind of clocks that. He sees, because she told him, you'll see, I'll start, moving my hands. I think maybe he clocks that. He's worried about her, and he stops playing whatever he's doing. He maybe, to the detriment of his team, goes to make sure she's okay, and maybe the rest of the players do as well. I don't know. That would be my guess. I'm trying to think of something that would.
Do you think there's a chance that she reveals, like if Joe were to do that she would reveal to the entire cast that she has autism?
Yes.
And that's what maybe breaks Jeff down, because Jeff starts to see this like emotional moment of like how people react to that.
I think she would probably she doesn't have to, obviously, but I think that would elicit that conversation.
I mean, we've seen Jeff go through a lot of stuff on the show, and we've never actually seen Jeff cry on the show. So it's honestly good job for the preview people on this one, because that's a good tease. I would tune in, even if I wasn't watching Survivor, be like, what would make Jeff Probst cry?
What would make Jeff cry? Yeah. I think the last time we saw him like really, 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 really scared was, was it Caleb that passed out?
Died.
Yeah. That was a really, really, really emotional for him. But I didn't see any tears when I passed out, Jeff. Didn't see any tears.
Have you seen the I don't know if you've seen this, Lauren. Have you seen of the guy like making fun of Jeff and doing it, and you're in it? You're the last one.
No, I'm the last one. It's hilarious. Yeah, I've had so many people send it to me, and it's so funny. It's so funny. It's awesome. Which one is? I think my favorite one is. There's one in the middle. I can't remember who it is, but it's funny.
Here for the curse on here. It's something about you're a stupid fucking ass or something. And it's just like moving on. Yeah. Whatever it is, it's so nonchalant where it's like, oh, is that hurting? Well, you shouldn't have. It's just so funny.
It's so good. Great. Whoever made that is hilarious.
And when I got to the last one and it's you on there and it's like, Jeff, I think I'm gonna pass out. What is the response?
He goes, well, that's effing pathetic.
Yeah, there you go.
And then
that's effing pathetic. I love it. I love it.
I was like, I know, Jeff. I know.
If only they would have given you one bit of food. My favorite question still to this day that I've ever asked in one of our tell-alls is when I said to you, so you would have never quit the game, but you were starving. If they would have voted you out right before the merge, what would you have done? Because you wouldn't have gotten the merge feast. And you were like, we don't talk about that. We just literally aren't going to say anything about that, Phil. And you just moved past it. You're like, we're not going to think about it at all, because you would have just withered away over there. That would have been it.
Yeah, I really would have. I was really not okay mentally or physically leading up to that merge.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. There you go. What timing to have you on right after you make your big viral comeback. Way to go.
Oh, my big viral comeback. I'm famous again. It's just so fun.
You're bad. People are like, holy shit, she's on The Specialist and she played Survivor. I didn't know that.
I know. Crazy, guys. Crazy.
All right. Who do you have at number 9? We're getting into it now.
Let's find out who I have at number 9. I'm going to go Eva. I like that.
Do you think that Eva has any chance to win at this point?
Yes, because she's still in the game.
Okay.
Based
on what you're watching, though, you feel like because to me, it feels like Eva's getting the journey edit from the season, right? It's like, I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to be an inspiration to people. I'm going to do all these things. But ultimately, for Eva to actually sit at the end and get the votes, there's going to have to be more gameplay than, I don't really get along with the women. I love these guys. There has to be more than that, right? There has to be.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting comment to include, just because of how that comment is used on social media. However, I think that the fact that she does play on an all-men's team is an important point to have in that conversation. You know what I mean? She is, Yeah. And I also think that just her personality in general, her saying, I'm very direct. Like, I don't need the nuances. I don't want to have the passive aggression. I'm going to tell you what I think. And I think that's difficult to have within like a group of girls. Mm-hmm. In a group of girls, you're going to have nuances. You're going to have to be able to read like social cues. You're going to have to gauge the emotion or the feelings within a room. That's exhausting as it is. And for her, she's like, I don't do that. I'm not going to do that. So it makes sense to me why she would say that she gets along with men much better.
And I have to say, like, for the people who are just absolutely hating on social media, get a life. My God. Like the woman who comes out and is on an all men's hockey team in a starving situation where she likes to pick up sticks and put them down, right? She is like a gym rat at this point. It's, I want to pick it up and put it down. She's picking up, she's going to get as much wood as possible. For her to come out and say, I want to play with the men, I don't really get along with women. Why does that like make her evil in so many people's minds nowadays? It's so insane. When Twyla said that in season 9, nobody cared. It was like, oh, okay, it's a tomboy. Fine, cool. I don't know why we have to blow it up into something that it's not. Whereas if like David, when he's saying the thing about like, man, if he was to be like, I don't like guys, I just want to play with the women, everybody been like, King David, this is amazing. I just think it's so crazy. Like, give Eva a freaking break.
Trust me, I could talk for another 2 hours on the discourse around that. Clearly, I am all about strong women. I love women supporting women in Survivor, especially. I mean, my best friend is Kelly Wentworth, who I think is the, face of strong women of Survivor, right? But I think that there's so much context that needs to be present when you are talking about that statement she made. And I think it's everything that I said about girls are hard to be friends with. Sorry. Like sometimes girls are mean. Like sometimes girls have this like passive aggressive, like maybe the fact is that she just like hasn't had any really good girlfriends in her life before. And I think that people are just so afraid to say, hey, sometimes girls suck too. Cause we do. I've been a bad friend before. I've been, X, Y, and Z. And it's like, I just think that statement for me, I understood it. I understood what she was saying. I think it's unfortunate that it was included in the edit the way it was because of the way that statement is taken on social media in our society. I don't think that's how she meant it in a derogatory way towards all women. I think it was, hey, this is who I am. I've made it clear that I don't do well with nuances. I don't do well with social cues. And it's a lot easier to be friends with men because they don't depend on that to be friends. That was what I took. And I might be putting words in her mouth and I don't mean to do that, but I just think it's like, guys, I don't think that statement was as deep as maybe people are taking it.
Yeah, exactly. Mountains out of molehills. That's how I feel. All right. I have Camilla at 9. She makes a great move last week. She sits there with everybody, but I think she's going to be threatening to Joe and Shaheen. I don't know how they would get rid of her, but I think she would be the target. If somebody loses a vote, she's done. I think that's how it would go. I have her at 9 as the third lowest person on that tribe. Still pretty high though, considering like I have 2 people from each of the other tribes below her because I do think that tribe's going to be safe. So I have Camilla at 9. We've talked about her a bunch. Who do you have at 10? Now, so you're confident in these 10 and then you get into your 4. So who's your last person that you have under your safe-ish?
I'm like confident-ish in that 10. I'm going to go with Joe.
So I think that's the lowest you have from that tribe, right? Because it's Kyle. Yeah. So Joe... Is it just that Joe wouldn't flip on Shaheen because of what we've seen in the edit? Is there something else? Like, are Kyle and Camilla going to want to vote Joe out?
No, I don't think they're going to want to vote Joe out at all. I think they're maybe going to want to vote Shaheen out and keep Joe. I just think that tribe isn't going to tribal. And that my power rankings could significantly change after next week, but I think that tribe's not going to tribal. So I'm putting Camilla and Kyle and Shaheen in the front because I think they also are, from what we have seen in the edit, more cutthroat than Joe.
Yeah. And that's what I see too. Joe doesn't seem like he's out there I think the Eva thing, if Joe was going to come out to play an aggressive cutthroat game like Thomas was playing, if Joe was going to do that, the Eva thing brought him back to a reality of, nope, I'm playing this for my family, for my kids. I'm playing this the Tom Westman old school Survivor.
But you can do, I think you can absolutely do both. Like you
Mhm.
can be, it is possible to be extremely kind and extremely thoughtful in Survivor and also be a very strategic player.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I think in comparison to the other 3 people on that tribe, he has been given an edit of like a caretaker and very kind. I'm not saying that means he goes home. I just think if it comes to a point where that tribe has to cannibalize each other, he probably is the one that they will go after.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. And that's why I have him at 11, but my 10, I'm going to put Chrissy. I do feel like Chrissy, there's maybe a world in which she goes home. I'm putting her this low just because I don't really know her. I don't feel like we've heard much from her. We didn't really know where she stood over on the Orange Tribe. I don't know if Mitch is close enough with her that if Say and Cedric get over their differences here, that they couldn't just say, hey, Mitch, you want to vote with us and we'll get Chrissy out. I don't know if Mitch would be opposed to that. Like Mitch, the only person we didn't really hear Mitch being like, wow, I want to be in an alliance with Chrissy. It was her. So I have Chrissy at 10. I have Joe at 11. And then I have Bianca, Star, and Charity as my last 3. Not in that order, but those are my bottom 3. That's why when you put Star at 4, I almost jumped out of my chair because it's like, whoa.
We haven't seen enough of Star. She has an idol. She's got more to do. I'm telling you. I think maybe it's possible next episode is her last episode. I just think I saw some people in the chat say that they think that Eva beat Star. I never said she didn't.
Yeah.
I just said that I don't think Star's going home next episode.
Yeah. So you have Chrissy still down here, though. You haven't said Chrissy's name yet. She's your next person. So we haven't heard from Chrissy much. So like from the same point of view.
Wait, have I said Cedric yet?
No, you haven't.
All right. I'm putting Chrissy. Yeah.
Okay. So, but from the same point that you made about Star, where you feel like there's got to be more story here, is that how you're feeling about Chrissy? That's keeping her from the bottom?
I do. I think we haven't heard enough about her. I don't think her exit would be emotional and or anyone would care as much as they would for other exits at this point.
Okay. So you have her at 11. I already have Joe at 11. So then are you putting Cedric at 12? Was that your hint? Okay. So Cedric at 12. Okay. I'm going to kill mine and then you can do your last 2 after because I want to like save the best.
I think we have the same ones.
Well, so I haven't said Star yet. So
oh my god, you haven't. Wait, did you say Charity already?
I have not. I have 3 left. So
you have 3 left. Okay. Sorry.
So I am going to go Star next.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I am going to say that Bianca's tribe loses. So I'm putting Bianca at the bottom and I'm putting Charity in the spot above. I think that Charity, based on how we've seen all of these other storylines of right before the swap happens, you have Kyle saying, well, I'm going to go see if we can work with David. And Mitch is saying, let's see if we can get Kyle, David, Mitch, and, we'll see what happens. David has too many ins with people. And the fact that Charity is telling people I have him wrapped around my finger, like you said earlier. And then we immediately get a conversation confessional from him of, I don't even really like Charity. Like I'm fine with Charity going home. She is misreading him so much. David is just, I think, on a different level than her right now. And I think that could ultimately
get gone to tribal. Listen, I agree with you. I just think like I need to have their back a little bit in that they've never gone to tribal. When you don't go to tribal, your reality of Survivor is so warped because you've never had to test any of the perceptions that you have in place. Like you've never had to test anything. So she's just been living in this constant yes man cycle of, well, yeah, of course he's going to do whatever I say because you've never had to get him to do what you have said. So I agree with you 100%. I'm on the same page. I just want to have their collective back a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Knowing that when you don't go to tribal, I personally wouldn't know because I was at tribal. That was my home. I was paying rent there. I was paying rent at tribal council on my season. However, when you don't go to tribal, you just don't know. You don't know where people's loyalties lie. You don't know what people will do when there's paranoia introduced into the game. So yes, I agree. It was telling because what do I have? No, I think I have Charity. Now I have to decide. Okay, it's my turn.
Yeah, so I have Bianca at the bottom. So are you going Charity at the bottom or Bianca at the bottom?
Those are my bottom 2, obviously. I think it just depends on which. I think if Bianca's tribe loses, Bianca goes home. Charity's tribe loses. Charity goes home. I think it's Bianca and then Charity. I think Charity goes home.
Okay, so you think Charity's tribe is going to lose?
Yeah.
And what's the vote gonna look like over there to get Charity out of the game? Because we have Eva, Star, David, Charity, Mary. Right now, Star doesn't have a vote. Let's say Star never finds this idol. Is it a 3-1 vote? Charity goes home, you think? Or a 2-1 vote? Or a 2-2? Like, how do you think this shakes out?
Is this the orange tribe right now? No, this is the purple tribe.
Is it purple?
Okay, yeah.
They swapped. I forget.
I wrote it out. I was like 2 OG green. Like I have my notes. Okay.
Yeah, it is purple.
Yeah, purple tribe. So so we have Star and Eva, we have Charity and David, and then we have Mary. And Star doesn't have a vote. I think Star could get her vote back next episode if she gets her idol. I think that's possible. Especially if they go to tribal. If they lose, she's going to be on her game. Yeah. So I could see. Let's say that Star gets her idol, right? Let's see that Eva gets everybody on board to vote out Star. Star would probably vote out Eva. I just think that David doesn't like Charity. So he's going to tell Eva he wants to vote Charity. I think he's like, let's just wait on Star. Eva will say okay. And I think they get Mary on board. So maybe 3-1.
3-1. Charity votes for David and that's it. Yeah. And over on the other tribe, like Bianca feels like she should be in a swing position. But I feel like Bianca's having, like, she's talking about, I'm going to find the cracks. I'm going to find the cracks. But not having a vote makes that so much harder when nobody is together. Like, I don't
Nobody knows she doesn't have a vote, but I agree with you.
But she kind of needs her vote here because I do think that Say and Cedric, if they don't vote together and Say votes for Cedric and Cedric votes for Bianca, let's say, Chrissy and Mitch aren't going to vote Cedric out of the game. Maybe they choose to vote Say out of the game. So Say goes home in a 2-1-1. But I think it's more likely that Cedric, Chrissy, and Mitch vote 3 on Bianca and potentially Say votes for Cedric. And now we have a 3-1 vote out and Say's coming back to camp just like she was earlier in the season going, what the hell, guys?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? So that's what it feels like to me. And I feel for Bianca, not really necessarily swap screwed, but not having a vote here makes it so that
it makes it hard. It makes it hard. Not having a vote on a 5-person tribe is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. Yeah.
So, all right, we got
through the
power rankings. I got to ask you 2 more quick ones. All right, first I got to ask you who's your winner pick for the season. That's the most important.
I actually have to make a winner pick. Okay. Let me think. So I want to say Kyle, but the more I think about it, the more I'm taking it back because he has not been like, I think that last episode he had a good edit, but I think the star of that edit was Camilla. I want to say Camilla, but I don't think people let her get to the end. This is hard. All right, I'm going Mitch just because I like him.
Okay. So Mitch is your winner pick.
Yeah.
All right. Now for season 50, come on, we got to go back to season 50.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody from your season play again? Who do you want it to be?
Anyone from my season?
Yeah.
Oh, Kelly. I don't think you can have I'll say this a million times because you'll go and hear me say it. And anybody who knows me knows that I can't have a conversation about Survivor without finding some way to bring up Kelly Wentworth. You cannot have a legend season and not include Kelly Wentworth. You can't. You just can't. I don't think that you can find 6 other female players that are better than Kelly. I think that Kelly has to be on season 50 if it's a legend season. And if you want to, I also don't think just logistically, who fills that role?
Of like the aggressive female athletic strategic player. I don't know. I don't know.
That's my vote. Kelly Wentworth.
I think Kelly's done enough. Okay. Now you can't say Kelly for this one. Okay. You got to say somebody else for any season of Survivor. Who would you want to see the most? And you can't say Kelly.
Oh,
yeah. Cause guys, that was going to be Kelly again. I needed to say that because it was going to be Kelly again.
Candace Cody.
Oh my God. What a throwback. Okay. You think we need Candace Cody for a 4th time?
I would watch Candace Cody 100%. This is like actually kind of a niche thing I don't talk about it a ton. I freaking ride for Candace Cody and her husband. I love them. And you want to know why? Because I had a watch party in Georgetown. So I actually did the same master's program that her and her husband did at Georgetown. They met there. They have a full-on life. They're full-on surgeons, you guys. And they have kids. Like, they have a life. They drove to Georgetown, came to my watch party. So freaking funny and fun and nice. Like, Candace telling the story about how she met her husband, phenomenal. Like, I love her. I think she's awesome. She's like just the epitome of obviously like super hot, super like nice, but she's a badass. Like, she's so freaking cool. I love her. I would watch her again. I don't think she gets enough flowers, so I'm giving Candace Cody her flowers.
I love that answer because, yeah, I feel like she played her first time. Then when she came back for Heroes Villains, people were like, why? And then she comes back and she plays Blood versus Water, and everybody was like, what's going on? And yeah, John was super fun there. But Neo Kuro is saying here that you have a taste because he says Candace was basically the first Kelly. So there you go.
Well, there you go. There you go. She's awesome. She's awesome. And obviously, I'm saying that because I've met her in person, but like, her and John, just phenomenal people, but like cool. Like, you want to be friends with them. I want to see her play again because I also think it's like, and this is what I was saying earlier, Jeff keeps saying that season 50 is about celebrating the fans and their loyalty to the game. I think that there's something to be said about seeing people that have had an evolution since the time that we saw them. I don't want to see, oops, thing came out. I don't want to see, let's see if I can get this back. I don't want to see someone from 48 and 49 on season 50. I'm sorry, I don't. I just saw them. I don't want to see someone from, honestly, season 45 to 50. Like, I just saw them. If this is a celebration, and I honestly think that even, well, I'm not going to say it because I think that, you change a lot between 21 and 28, Jeff. I just think it's like, if it's a celebration of Survivor, I think so much fun of the returning seasons is seeing these people and seeing how they have changed and how their strategy has changed and how their life experiences have impacted their decision making and the way that they approach the game and the people in the game. And I don't know. I think that there's just like so much to be said about Candace. We haven't seen her, what, 10 years?
I mean, yes, in season 27, I always felt with Candace, John should have gotten a call similarly to Brad Culpepper.
Love John.
Coming around because John is a force in Blood versus Water, but that tribe that he's on is such a disaster that him and Brad just eat each other alive. Yeah. And I think John would have been great had he gotten
Bring them both back. I would love to see them both again because they're so awesome together. I'm a huge fan of theirs.
Not where I thought this was going. I should have just had you stay with the Kelly answer.
No, I knew the second you asked that I couldn't say Kelly. Because that I get the same reaction every time, but I say it consistently. If someone says, they ask who I would want to play with, and I always, obviously I play with Kelly, but I say Candace Cody.
There you go. All right, well, that's going to wrap this one up. So, Lauren, thank you so much for jumping on. I'm glad we had you back again. Any last words? Any last pitch for season 50? Anything you got? Look, I am allowing you to get on your soapbox.
No, I think that I have been very honest with you. I love you for always having my back and speaking very kindly of me. But I also am innately aware that there are people that have played Survivor much better than I did when I was 21 years old and a baby and deserve to play. And getting to play one time is such a gift. Getting to play a second time would be insane. I would say yes in a heartbeat, but I don't expect to ever be on season 50. But yeah.
I'm gonna change career paths. I'm gonna get into casting. I'm gonna work in casting on Survivor. We're gonna get it done. It's gonna happen. Somebody earlier had put, let me see if I can find the comment. It was a good one. Where is it? Come on. I know who it was too. I just want to give them their credit when I go to do it. All right, here it is. Awesome. Lauren and Phil, my favorite alliance on season 54. Fans
That'd be so fun. That'd be so fun.
Favorites
would be a fun season.
I say that now. I feel like fans versus favorites would be more fun now because the favorites and fans actually interact with each other.
Totally.
Like, you have to think the first two times they did this, nobody was able to just walk up to John Cochran. Nobody was able to walk up to Parvati.
I know.
Nowadays, it's like you go to these watch parties. Like, if you go to the Ron Clark event on April 13th, like I know from your season, if you go to the Ron Clark event, I think it's April 13th. It's something like that. The 16th. If you go to that event, there's going to be so many survivors there.
That's
and it's like,
fine.
you can just walk up to survivors. We went to the Bryson One event in LA. Sugar was standing there. Like when you walked into the bar, it was me and Sugar standing right there. And we were the first ones to call you out. And it's like, you couldn't just walk up to Sugar before Heroes versus Villains. Now you can. So I think that would make it a really, really, really compelling season of TV, because I don't think the fans for the first time would really be that in awe of the favorites. I think it would be kind of a more equal playing field, which would be fun.
I think it'd be very interesting how they would pick the fans as well.
I agree. They should go with like a podcaster who does a fan run podcast. I'm just saying.
They should, I don't know, pick Phil.
They should. I'm just saying, and I should get my first pick of who I'd want to be on there.
I'll be your biggest advocate. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, man, what a dream. 54. That I like how it's 54, not 56.
Yeah,
like not
that's kind of like a random pick, but I liked it.
At least we know where we'll be 2 summers from now. Okay.
All right, I'm putting it in my calendar.
I know. Sorry, Jeff. All right, 2027. I won't do anything that year. All right. Well, this was a lot of fun. So happy to have you on here. Thank you so much for coming back.
You rock.
Everybody, like this video, subscribe to the channel, become a patron, patreon.com/thespecialists. And we will see you Wednesday night after the episode. Will and I will be back right after breaking down episode number 5 of Survivor 48. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.